En este caso queríamos conocer de la mano de los actores que están en terreno la realidad africana. Y para ello, pues tenemos la suerte de contar con María Ángeles León, que es vicepresidenta del SpainNAB y también cofundadora y presidenta de GSII, que va a estar moderando esta mesa, como digo, de la mano de los actores africanos, que va a ser en inglés. Así que bueno, lo que vamos a hacer es, voy a ir dando yo, incluso voy a lanzar yo las preguntas, ¿por qué no? Que iba a lanzar María Ángeles, pero las lanzo yo para ir ganando tiempo. Así que nada, voy a pedir en primer lugar, bueno, al equipo, a nuestro equipo técnico, que por favor lance la primera preguntita. Vale, y que básicamente dice así, ¿qué retos en África necesitan más financiación de fondos de impacto internacionales? Estaríamos pensando en la adaptación y mitigación del cambio climático, estaríamos pensando en la inclusión financiera, bancarización, construcción de infraestructuras sostenibles, otros. Bueno, yo creo que ahora con todo el tema, por ejemplo, de la COVID y de la nueva variante Omicron que nos viene de Sudáfrica y donde tan solo un 7% de la población africana ha sido vacunada, yo creo que eso sería un caso ejemplo en este caso de infraestructuras, en este caso de la salud, ¿no? Que parece que tras la inclusión financiera pues es el elemento pues más votado. Estos serán temas que se abordarán en la sesión de luego. Pediré al equipo que por favor vaya contactando con María Ángeles para que se conecte cuando pueda. Y lanzaremos también la segunda pregunta, ¿vale? Que dice así: ¿cómo se pueden impulsar las alianzas entre inversores de impacto españoles y los ecosistemas africanos? Veremos que contaremos hoy con la red africana de Venture Philanthropy, el principal nodo africano para promover la inversión de impacto, y hay tres posibles respuestas: trabajando entre los NABs para generar pipeline de inversión con fondos españoles de impacto. Aquí tenemos hoy contaremos con el NAB de Ghana, ¿vale? Pero también existen NABs en Nigeria, en Sudáfrica, y hay otros que están en Zambia y que están en proceso de construcción, por cierto, con un fuerte apoyo de la cooperación francesa, ¿vale? Tal vez España podría jugar ese mismo rol para América Latina, ¿no? En segundo lugar, una cumbre de NABs como punto de encuentro entre ecosistemas y trabajo conjunto con incubadoras y aceleradoras españolas y africanas, ¿no? Bueno, parece que el trabajo entre NABs para generar pipeline es la más votada, así que esperemos vale, que nos recojan el guante. Y por otro lado, vamos a lanzar la tercera y última. No, ya no tenemos más preguntas, pero vamos a ir dando ya pie a que se sumen nuestros panelistas, ¿vale? A ver si María Ángeles se puede sumar a la llamada. Como siempre, cuando entra el directo es cuando surgen los retos técnicos, como os podéis imaginar, porque todo iba como la seda. Así que bueno, a ver si somos capaces de conectar con nuestra mesa africana, con María Ángeles y también con, en este caso sería Amma Lartey, que es la CEO de Impact Investing Ghana, que es la asociación que se ha creado allí en Ghana para promover la inversión de impacto, vendría a ser el NAB de Ghana. Contamos también con Frank Aswani, que es CEO de la African Venture Philanthropy Alliance, la AVPA, que tal vez os resulte familiar, forman parte de la familia de asociaciones de Venture Philanthropy, en este caso la European Venture Philanthropy Association, con quienes nosotros trabajamos estrechamente, pero también con la red latinoamericana de Venture Philanthropy, que es la Latin Impacto y que se sumarán en el próximo panel. Y en tercer lugar también contaremos con José Galíndez, que es presidente de Fundación EKI, una fundación radicada en el País Vasco, en Bilbao, y que están haciendo pues, proyectos muy interesantes, de hecho, junto de la mano del gobierno vasco en paneles solares y otras fuentes de energía limpia en América Latina. Así que bueno, ahora ya sí tenemos a María Ángeles. María Ángeles, he ido avanzando
Gonzalo, ¿te
y
han
he presentado.
contestado? Amma
A
y
ver,
Frank.
no, seguimos sin oírla. Así que, bueno, María Ángeles no se te oye. Igual podemos ir dando entrada a nuestros speakers y a ver si conseguimos solucionar el audio de María Ángeles. ¿No estarás muteada, María Ángeles?
Sí, qué bien. A ver,
A
Frank,
ver,
are you there? Yeah, can you hear us? Yeah, cool.
María,
Yeah. So,
¿estás muteada, María Ángeles, por
okay, yeah,
casualidad?
yeah, yeah,
No.
yeah. We were wondering whether you can hear
No.
us. So, brilliant.
Ahora sí, tenemos a nuestros speakers. Gonzalo, ¿me oyes? No sé, ¿me oyes? Que...
Vale. Ah, sí, sí, pero tenía que introducirnos José Luis, ¿no? Ah, vale, vale. Bueno, welcome everybody. I'm so happy to have here such wonderful bunch of people for our panel. And we are going to try in these 40 minutes to make a deep insight in what is happening in the continent, why it is an opportunity for social impact investors, and how is the demand and the requirements that companies have in Africa as a continent and in some specific countries. So here we have Amma that lives in Ghana, in Accra. She's a social entrepreneur, but she's also running the Social Impact Investing Institute in Ghana, and she's also working with the Ghana National Advisory Board for Impact Investing. She is passionate about unlocking talent in young people and take companies and scale them to their full potential. So, hello, Amma.
Hello, Maria. It's a
Yeah,
great pleasure to be here.
cool. We also have Frank Aswani. He started his career in Lilly, a pharmaceutical company we know very well in Spain that is very conscious with sustainability and everything. So nothing is casual that you started your career there. He defined himself as an Afro-optimist, so we would like to know more about that through the panel. And now he's the CEO of the African Venture Philanthropy Alliance. And he's also been working before in the African Leadership Academy, which I like to know a little bit more about after we introduce ourselves. And then we have pioneer in solar energy in Spain, that is José Galíndez. His former work was at Solar Park, one of the most successful solar companies in Spain. And taking this knowledge from so many years, he decided to enlighten Africa. So he's here he's the practitioner, maybe. Also, Amma is also social entrepreneur. So we have two practitioners in here. But the model that he has developed between philanthropy and investing is very, very good for us to understand, and is mixing or blending the two types of capital that it's going to Africa from Spain. So I think that we have prepared two questions for the audience to answer to us before we start, so we just can better understand what do they know about what we're talking and what do they like to know. So if you just can launch the questions to the audience. ¿Y yo por qué no las veo? Aquí. So, but I can't see the answers. So if Amma, for example, you can see them, because I don't know why it is not in my...
I can't see that either, Maria.
No. So, well, probably the rest of the answer, the audience is seeing the questions, but no matter, because I have so many good questions to make you, and maybe afterwards, when we do the Q&A. Ahora sí. So here we are. I just comment a little bit for you. So the first question was, what was the main problems that we face when financing projects in Africa? So what kind of requirements you have in Africa that are most important? So people in the audience think that mitigating climate change, it's 10% important, that financial inclusion is around 41%, that constructing infrastructures is around 20%, and others. So I don't know whether you agree with all these three. So what the audience thinks is that financial inclusion is one of the first things that we need to solve in Africa. And then we have the mitigation of climate change. I don't know whether you agree with these explanations or these ideas the audience is having on the continent. What do you think about financial inclusion? Because I guess that in every single region we visit in Africa, there is no need for more financial inclusion companies. But I would like to hear from you, maybe Frank. What do you think about it?
Yeah, Maria, it's a good question. And I think if you asked that question 10, 15 years ago, it would probably be true. I think now, because of mobile money, we've had some huge financial inclusion measures and progress made on the continent. I think if you look at the success of M-Pesa in Kenya and other mobile money tools, Africa has moved in significant strides when it comes to financial inclusion. So I would agree with you, Maria Ángeles, that it's not such a big thing at the moment in Africa in terms of some of the biggest challenges we should be solving.
Okay, so now that you're talking, get deeper into what are the issues that you think this is what we need financing for.
Yeah, I think I'll answer that question from two perspectives. One is, let's not forget that Africa is 54 countries. So there's quite a bit of differences and nuances across different countries. But broadly speaking, there's a couple of key sectors that I think still require attention. One is the whole idea around healthcare, because healthcare is a very government-driven, public funds-driven sector. And in the recent past, we've seen a decline in aid, because healthcare in Africa is funded mainly by governments and by aid coming from the outside. We've seen a decline in aid, and we've seen our governments lacking money. So the two biggest sectors have been affected negatively because of that is healthcare and education. And education is not so much access. I think we've seen a huge improvement in number of kids going to school. It's the quality of education that's a problem now in many places, and also dealing with things like keeping more girls in school, for example. So in healthcare access, quality of healthcare, education quality is something we need to work on. And then the third piece of sector that we still need to work on is food security. Africa has 60% of the world arable land, yet we're still net importers of food. And we are growing our population by about 1 million people a month. And all these people need to eat. And there's huge opportunities in agriculture to improve productivity, reduce loss of harvest, and just by applying simple technologies in the process of doing that. Africa, for example, is hugely under-irrigated. We irrigate very little of our land, yet we have a lot of rivers, we've got a lot of rain. So those are the three sectors I'd say offer some really interesting opportunities. But within the context of that, and if you look at what the cell phone has done and financial inclusion, a lot of technological innovations are coming in this space to solve problems in those three sectors.
Thank you, Frank. And now, from your point of view, Amma, that you are a social entrepreneur yourself, and at the same time you are trying to fundraise from social impact investors to solve some of the problems that Frank has pointed to us, but some others. So what do you think are the most important issues that you need to solve with this impact investing financing in Africa?
Thank you, Maria. And I would agree with Frank. But in addition to that, I will add small and medium enterprise financing, not so much financial inclusion, but ensuring that there is capital that is appropriate, that is patient, that is at a cost that makes sense for small and medium enterprises. And this is a major issue, I guess, across the world as we look at a just transition. SMEs are over 90% of the economy in African countries, and a lot of them are informal. So they may not be formally registered, even though they may have a business, hiring people, employing people. And there's a move using digital technologies across many African countries to increase formalization. Africa has a very young population, and young people need jobs. And the only way we can ensure that those jobs are created is growing SMEs, is growing the productive sector. The other thing is that it's really about collaborating with local funders. These kinds of investments really make sense when they are collaboration. If you look at the solutions Frank talked about, mobile money, etc., all these innovations in fintech are being developed by Africans. So it's a question of mobilizing local money in Africa, and that's what Frank is doing, that's what we're doing at a country level at the National Advisory Board, and creating visibility for foreign investors to be able to come in and participate in deals that can lead to the outcomes that we want, in this case, to jobs.
Years funding for blended finance, and they are really taking a vertical or an approach very direct to scale SMEs in Africa, which is very good news. So now that the United States and Europe are very worried about the presence of China in Africa, I think there will be a good opportunity of funding coming from them to be deployed in these sectors that you think are most important. And now, Jose, from your point of view as an investor, what do you think do you need from the African countries to improve for your life as investor there become more easy? So the administration should do some blended finance. You would like to have more local partners to invest together with you. There should be a better legal environment. What is your experience?
Well, our experience, in fact, is not that big administrations, which I think is maybe part of the issue. So we are very fluent. We have very fluent relations with the NGOs, and we work very well with them in the education and healthcare center. We provide them with electricity 24/7. We replace old gensets that work for 3 hours and consume a lot of diesel oil and are very expensive by 24/7 electricity, solar PV with batteries. When we assign the cost that financing represents every year to our counterparties, they see big savings, which is maybe why we are successfully financing So what we do is we bring clean electricity. We charge them maybe we charge them the investment in 10 years without interest. And we save them money, but the reality is that we have the few opportunities when we had the chance to speak with the local or national administrations. We didn't go too far, which is a little bit amazing for us, because the need is so big. We simply don't have, we don't have to pay too much attention to where our financing needs to go, because almost everywhere they need our stuff. But it's kind of surprising and maybe concerning that we see very little interest in administrations for our type of finance.
Okay, and maybe just to get a little bit deeper in your model, now that you have started to explain, so as administrations are not taking care or even helping, I understand that you are helping through your foundations with this blended capital that will be needed probably to be provided by administration and governments. So you are doing it from the foundation to make able the investors to have a return. So can you get a little bit deeper how you are solving probably a public-private problem just in a private way, because you are not having these tools from the administration?
Yeah, well, in fact, we are solving, I think, a public-private problem with maybe a public-private solution as well from the financing point of view. Unfortunately, we have not yet been able to involve African organizations in this financing side, but I hope we can make that happen, soon. So what we've been doing for the last 4 years is providing equipment, installations to run, and we have been providing the funds to make that investment. At the very beginning, the first 2 years, we did with our own means. So we collected money, we put the investment, we started have it running, and we get annuities, in 10 to 20 years, no interest. That's how we get those installations paid back. Now, last year we launched this vehicle, this financing vehicle, with out of which we are able to attract funding from both private sectors in Europe and the US, and also public institutions. Some of them related with governments in Europe, others with large corporations, and we are blending that capital, and we are using it to make the investments in Africa, and again getting the returns from the beneficiaries of this investment without interest from their side, but we are paying a little bit of an interest to our investors depending on how much risk they want to take, and that's working pretty well. And we are also, this is very interesting now. For the last few months, we are engaging also suppliers. So not only let's say cash investment, but suppliers are saying, well, you are putting those installations to be paid back in 10 years. I might put some equipment with you, and you can pay me also in 10 years, which is a very interesting mix of things.
Frank is an admirer of the model that you have and of your will of not having to be in Africa forever, just being able to build enough companies that they will be sustainable in there for them to run the business. And I would like to ask you, Fran, as we're missing the African governments in the blended finance that we need as social impact investors, do you think that the Africa Trade Union will help this money that is badly needed to move? Do you think the administration, you're an Afro-optimist, that's why I'm asking it to you. How do you see this happening?
So Maria, so first of all, I'm not surprised that Jose is struggling with African administrations. And it's not because African governments and administrations don't want to work with investors. It's because a lot of this stuff that is now happening around innovative financing, where we're blending capital, is very new to them. They don't know what they don't know. Remember, these government officials are used to the old model of getting aid. They're not used to this model of where we are blending grants with private capital, where we're looking at private capital to invest in social investments. So when you look at the challenges that Africa is facing with an impact mind, everything is not a problem, it's an opportunity. Okay? Because if you look at the administration, one of the things that I think Europe could help us, European governments could help Africa, is to help Africans understand this space better, get better at understanding innovative finance, get better at understanding how we mobilize capital differently in this new world, in this new space. And one of the things we are doing at AVPA is doing a lot of capacity building programs to get more of our social investors in Africa, and including governments, to better understand this impact investing space so that they can create the right policies and regulatory environment for people like Jose to come and find it easy to invest. But right now, they don't know what they don't know. And there's huge opportunity. For me, it's not a challenge. It's huge opportunity for us to improve how African governments play in this role. And we're finding, especially as more younger people come into government who studied abroad, they're trying to see how they can change governments' mindsets and approaches towards mobilizing capital. So we are trying to find, we're trying to work on an innovative financing program for African governments at the moment. And we've found, amazingly, a lot of people in African governments in Kenya, Nigeria, and South Africa who understand that things need to change. And they're willing to work with us to do that kind of stuff. Now, one of the challenges we have, Maria Ángeles, is in Africa, we don't have enough institutions to even teach our people this new innovative finance. The whole continent of Africa, believe it or not, has only one university with an innovative financing program. The whole of Africa. If you want to do an impact investing or innovative financing program using an African university, you have one choice. So once again, there's an opportunity to train maybe 20, 30, 40, 50 African universities and business schools on how to teach and train people on impact investing. So for me, that's what is exciting. All our challenges are extremely exciting opportunities for impact investors.
Thank you, Frank. This has been very enlightening for me. It's not that I don't want to do it, it's that I don't know how to do it. And this is very good. And in a way, it's happening also in Spain, because it's very new everywhere in the world. So we are all learning, and it's astonishing that there is only one university teaching about that. But in Spain, we have only two, so but it's just one country. Okay. Amma, I would like to see from the private investor point of view. I know you're also an investor. So what would you like to see from foreign investors to maybe blend with your private capital too? What will you need to attract more? You want to raise $1 billion, funds that will raise $1 billion to invest in SMEs. So what will you ask Spanish investors and European investors for you to help?
Thank you. Thank you, Maria. I think that one of the best things that Spanish investors need is local counterparts. People to co-invest with who understand the local terrain, have skin in the game, and so can together make an impact. And for us, big pools of capital exist mostly in pensions. Pensions is a very conservative industry globally. However, our pension industry is very young, and the younger you are, the more open you are to innovation. And so we're working with our major pension funds, and we have a state wholesale fund for venture capital that has been feeding venture capital firms for a number of years to design a private sector-led impact fund of funds. And the goal is really to unlock pension capital to invest in emerging fund managers and experienced fund managers and investing in local SMEs. And there is an opportunity for blended financing. This fund is to be de-risked with philanthropic funding, still to get a good return, but we want the philanthropic funding to take a first loss position. So there are opportunities like that. The advantage with being part of blended vehicles is that many times investors come looking for big deals. They want to invest $5 million. They want to do big deals. However, our businesses many times are small and growing. And so you need this intermediary to be able to ensure that the funds get deployed. There are many large funds from development finance institutions and others flying around Africa saying there are no deals. The truth is that there are thousands of deals, but they don't come in the sizes on average that the average investor is looking at. And we want to create these vehicles that will enable foreign investors to be able to connect more easily to the deals on the ground that can deliver the impact that we require. But it's more than that. It's also bringing visibility on what the private sector has to offer. Ray talked about the fact that he's working mostly with NGOs, and you'll find for the most part that a lot of the interfaces between foreign blended capital coming from venture philanthropists is through non-profit structure, and there is very little connection through venture capital and other forms of private capital. And we are hoping through forums like this and through ecosystem mapping and other events we'll be having next year to create more opportunities for this kind of connection to happen, so that we can see some local investors investing in Jose's solar plant. But there are also local businesses. There are local solar companies that are producing solar, that could be collaborating partners that could result in scaling. And the government actually has a number of programs subsidizing solar power. And so my house has solar power subsidized by government. And so there are programs happening. There is investment being done by government. There are opportunities for partnerships, but I think having a strong local ecosystem through which to forge these partnerships is really important.
Thank you, Amma. And now that you talk about solar energy and everything, I would like to make a question to Jose, that it's, can we develop an economy just with solar panels, just with off-grid energy, or we badly still rely on connectivity and maybe fuel and oil and all these things that we really don't like anymore?
Yeah, well, I think to be connected to the grid is not that bad. So I say, listen, when you are connected to the grid, you have options. Okay, before 5 years ago, before 2015, or you were connected to the grid, or you have only gensets. Those were the choices. Okay, now the very good news in the world for the last 5-6 years, you have very inexpensive, clean energy available and affordable that are less expensive than gas, coal, and much less expensive than nuclear. And that is solar, and followed by wind. So today you can not say we are not connected to the grid, we have a problem. No, we have the grid. We are working now to make it even less expensive. The most expensive part of this solution, which is the batteries, to provide you the energy during the time when the sun is not shining. And even at that, with that expensive component, we are making very, very affordable energy. So yes, the answer is you can have it. If you don't have a great close by, no problem. You have a solutions. If you have a great close by, you have a choice, which is the great news.
So I think we ran out of time, but just only one question that I would like to do to Amma and Frank, and please be quick. And it's, what do you really need from a Spanish investor or European investors? In the audience, there are also some DFIs. So what do you really want to, your wish list in 2 words?
Okay, I'll go first. So I think I want people to realize that Africa has opportunities for impact investors. You can make money and you can create change in Africa. Africans are very open to that model. We're moving away from the days of just wanting aid. We are recognizing that you can actually bring investment opportunities to Africa that create both impact and financial returns. And come to people like us and Amma. We are networks that are already growing. We are networks of social investors who are already collaborating, giving you pipeline. We've got a deal share platform, and we can connect you with a network of multiple local investors that you can work with. So very welcome, and we'll help you settle down in Africa very quickly.
Thank you, Frank. Amma, wish list.
I would echo Frank and say that do connect, be open to innovation, especially DSI, and be open to doing things slightly different from what you've done in the past, and be open to, for example, doing things in local currency so that you can have co-investors in local currency who are come along with you and find other ways of dealing with currency risk, which you have options for. And let's do innovative financing together. Let's blend together. Let's make a financial return and also transform life.
Thank you very much, everyone. So I got from this panel that Africa needs knowledge. So we have to help with that. And besides, they need private capital and public capital and blending. And there is a vibrant SMEs and local small investors willing to do business with us. So that's what we get. So thank you very much for your time, and I hope to see you soon. Bye. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you, María Ángeles. Thank you.
Thank you.